Oh, wow. Well, Fordham University just offered a stark reminder of how U.S. leftism is following in the footsteps of murderous communist China. Instead of applauding, they're punishing a Chinese-American student who memorialized the Tiananmen Square massacre of 31 years ago and stood up for self-defense. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. Well, here's the story. According to Zachary Faria of the Washington Examiner, the Bronx-based Fordham University just disciplined a senior for 2 social media posts expressing his political principles. And shockingly, one of the posts was a reference to a massacre in the country he escaped, that being communist China. Here's the quote from Mr. Faria. Rising senior Austin Tong has been disciplined by Fordham University in New York for violating university regulations on bias and for threats and intimidation. Tong's offenses were 2 Instagram posts. The first was a picture of slain retired police captain David Dorn, a black man, with the caption, "Y'all a bunch of hypocrites," referring to the Black Lives Matter movement. The second was an image of Tong holding a legally acquired firearm and the caption, "Don't tread on me," along with a hashtag referencing the Tiananmen Square massacre posted on the 31st anniversary of the event. Unbelievable. I guess you can learn a lot from higher education nowadays, right? Learn a lot about hypocrisy and a lack of ethics. Learn a lot about leftism, I guess, right? Learn a lot about where you don't want to spend your money, that's for sure. Yeah, that's right. Bias. Well, one would think that folks populating the administration at an expensive university might have a better understanding of reality. This is Tong's personal Instagram account. As a result, it is, by its nature, biased. It's what he posts, for goodness sake. And all humans, of course, are subjective and biased. Regardless of the validity of what Tong implied in his 2 posts, and both posts were very valid, if Fordham has stipulations in its code of conduct allowing it to punish students for something like having their own peaceful opinions, well, perhaps prospective university students might want to factor that into their decisions about higher education and whether or not they want to go to Fordham University. Then, of course, there's the university accusations of threats and intimidation. Now, how is a young man who skewers Black Lives Matter hypocrisy and supports the principle of self-defense in any way threatening or intimidating someone? It seems like the shoe should be on the other foot. It seems as if the Fordham administration is intimidating Tong and any who might desire to follow in his footsteps to support truth and individual sovereignty. In fact, it seems as if Fordham is more in line with the communist Chinese military that cracked down on pro-freedom rally participants in Tiananmen Square 31 years ago than they are with the Catholic Reverend John Hughes, who founded the school in 1841.
For the Society of Jesus, the Catholic men's religious order seeking to expand its mission efforts in the young country, only 27 years have passed since its restoration after 4 decades of suppression. In New York, future Archbishop John J. Hughes moves forward with plans to create a Catholic seminary in New York similar to the one he attended in Maryland. He purchases Rose Hill Manor, named Fordham Village in the Bronx, as a campus for the seminary and an attached school. The school opens with a student body of 6 on June 21st, 1841. Known as St. John's College, it is the first Catholic institution of higher learning in the American Northeast. It is also the institution that will become Fordham Preparatory School.
Which is doubly perverse and ironic since the first people Chairman Mao Zedong targeted in his Cultural Revolution were university professors and students.
China has not seen student demonstrations on this scale since the chaotic Cultural Revolution of the 1960s. Some observers see the current wave of unrest as the greatest challenge the Communist Party has had to face since it came to power 40 years ago. And the students say they will not give up until their demands for political reform are met.
Millions of Chinese, for the first time, maybe the last time in their life, taste freedom in the air of Beijing.
But on the night of June 3, 1989, the People's Liberation Army turned its guns on the people.
Perhaps the folks at Fordham might want to check with someone familiar with that history. Say, oh, Mr. Tong, who, as Faria notes, emigrated to the U.S. from China. No, Tong is going to be punished, forced by Fordham to write an apology letter, and he'll be banned from entering campus without university permission for his senior year. He'll also be forced to finish an implicit bias course. Tong has teamed up with the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education to fight his punishment, all of which serves to remind others to contact the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education and compliment them on their work supporting intellectual freedom. And it might prompt a few people to consider that age-old adage that Fordham is a private school, so it can do what its administration likes. Well, the problem, of course, is that Fordham isn't exactly private anymore. As is the case with most so-called private universities, its rulers long ago started taking government handouts that come from taxpayers like you and like me. For example, in 2019, Fordham received $300,000 from the National Security Agency and Department of Defense. In 2011, Fordham pocketed $1.8 million from the U.S. Department of Education. Yeah, you know, that completely unconstitutional federal bureaucracy started by Jimmy Carter that has yet to show any improvement in U.S. educational output, even as it's centralized and bureaucratized education pedagogy for over 40 years. Well, there seems to be a big theme that we can detect. A university that is tightly connected to central government bureaucracy, punishing a student who stands for liberty and individual rights. Now, where in the world could we see examples of that kind of thing? Oh, I know. Perhaps a nation state called China, the communist leaders of which have exterminated over 60 million people since the communist government took over. Well, thankfully, Faria offers readers the name of the dean who sent Tong this absurd letter. And Faria also lets readers know how dangerously close the dean's actions are to the speech policing of communist China. The letter from Fordham Dean of Students Keith Eldridge didn't specify anything wrong with the posts other than the possession of a firearm, referring to social media posts, quote, related to the current racial issues in the country and political issues in China, end quote. The refusal to specify what was wrong with them shows even Fordham knows how ridiculous this is, and referring to Tiananmen Square as a political issue in China sounds like it's straight out of a Chinese propaganda handbook. So, since Fordham has gladly accepted money expropriated from us taxpayers, one wonders if Dean Eldridge will be open to hearing our voice, allowing us to express our opinions to him. We can do so by contacting his office, the details of which are available. We might not be able to stop the feds from handing his school our cash, but at least he and other leftists like him can't punish us for expressing our views to him. Well, not yet they can't. Hey, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe, as we often say. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the little bell because it's supposed to tell you when new videos appear. Head over to MRCTV.org and you'll find out what the whole team is doing. Visit us on Twitter. We'll see you on Facebook. I'll see you in the comments on YouTube. And don't forget, if you want some great MRC items, it's MRC-store. That's MRC-store. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.